Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I have something that I've never done on this channel before, but I'm pretty excited for it. And that is oddly talking about spider mites, cosmetic damage on leaves, and just leaf health in general. So this isn't going to be like an all-encompassing like Q&A, all of the information regarding spider mites, but more of a more relaxed, kind of like interesting video, I guess. And that is because I was sent these really cool lenses from a company called Apexel. And it takes so long to focus. So Apexel is a company that specializes in mobile lenses, meaning mobile microscopes and mobile like zoom lenses and macro lenses. So they sent me 3 to test out and try. I've already kind of played around with it and honestly I'm already obsessed. So today we are going to test out the 3 lenses. I'm going to kind of show you what different plants look like under the different lenses. I'm going to try and hopefully capture some spider mites on camera and what I also suspect to be flat mites. I'm going to show you maybe 2 plants that I have in my collection right now that I suspect have that I know have spider mites and that I suspect have flat mites. Now, I don't really know a ton about flat mites, nor have I ever even tried looking for them, especially when I thought that I had them on my Hoya, but I have been having some difficulties with some of my anthurium, and the only thing I can think of is it potentially being flat mites, because on these specific plants I don't see any spider mites and there really should be no reason for this kind of damage. So we are going to do all of that today, but for right now I'm just going to show you what I got. So the first lens that I picked out, where did it go? I'm like so disorganized here. The first one that I picked out is this little clip-on lens that is good for like if you're just on the go or something, or if you want like more of an inconspicuous lens. So this is what it looks like. This is what it looks like. The zoom on this one is 12 to 24 times zoom, and it has a universal clip, so it works on pretty much any iPhone or any phone. And so I'm going to, just to give you the comparison really quick, obviously we'll do a little bit more in depth later, but you never really realize how nasty and dirty your phone is until you take the case off. I'm just going to be clipping it on here, and then I'm going to insert some screen recordings directly from my phone so that you can see what it looks like. If you have the new, I don't know if this is just like a software thing, but basically if you have an iPhone, there's that new feature that shows, oh my gosh, that new feature that shows, do you see that little flower there? That means that macro is on. You are gonna wanna make sure that it's off. Turn it off, because these lenses, it gets all messed up if you try and leave it on, because it like switches between different cameras or the different lenses. So the first thing we're gonna look at is, what should we look at right now? Let's use my super cutie Hoff X red crystal. This is the only one that I kept from the batch that I did with Lauren at North Shore, and I just felt like this one had all the features that I really liked. I felt like it took a lot of the red crystal features. It looks more like a red crystal than a Hoff X, and it's really round, it's really silvery, it has red venation or pink venation, and yeah, so this is the one I kept. I think this is the one that we will be looking at, and hopefully I have enough light here to do that. I might need to prop something like this up. Okay, I think that's good. So the lens is clipped on right now, and you can kind of see that there are like the 4 black corners. So you're gonna wanna center it as much as possible. And like I said, turn off this macro, because if you turn it on, it's gonna switch lenses. So make sure it's off. And then you're gonna wanna zoom in like 1.4, 1.5. and it's very blurry right now, but as you can see, I'm going to switch back to my view. This is how far I am right now. As you get closer, you will see that things will come into crazy focus. And obviously if you have it like on a tripod, it's gonna be a lot better because it's gonna be stable. But anyway, I felt like this plant might have spider mites or at least flat mites. So we're gonna try and go on a little scavenger hunt here. But look how crazy it looks, the venation under this lens. And this isn't even a microscope. This is just a, oh, you guys, do you see that? Oh, no, come back. Where was that? Right there. Is that a flat mite? Right there, do you guys see it? That little orange thing? Sorry. It's not moving, but I think flat mites are orange, and I feel like that could be it. That little guy right there. Gotcha. That definitely looks like something. It doesn't look like a spider mite to me because the spider mites are usually black, I think. Let's see if I can show you how pink this venation is with this lens. Well, you can see how pink that is, the sinus. This is so crazy. It's so much fun. Oh yeah, see, you can see like it's got sort of a pink little midrib and then lots of pink here in the sinus. So anyway, I'm pretty sure that this has flat mites. I can see one right there as well. They're not moving though. I don't know if they're dead because I did treat my plants recently with a spider mite spray, and we will kind of go through all of the sprays that I have in my house right now at the end. Man, this texture is wild. Oh, look at that fatty. Look at this big guy right there. It's wild because I literally cannot see these little bugs just looking at it. Like literally just looking at the plant, I cannot see a single one of those orange pests at all. Not a single one. But I thought, here's the reason why I kind of thought this might have flat mites. So do you see, come on, do you see like this damage right here? It's like, it's not speckly in the way that spider mites leave damage, but it's got kind of like thicker speckles. It's not so apparent on this plant. It's more apparent on this one. So this is one of my Anthurium Brielle crystal blacks, and this new leaf that came out, do not see any spider mites on it at all, but you can see those little specks, right? Like here in this corner. And so I've been having this kind of damage on certain Anthurium in the last few months, and I really thought maybe it was flat mites. So let's check out this plant. I'm gonna use a different lens. I think I will use this zoom macro lens. All you do is attach this lens to it, and it goes in like this. Oh wait, on this side. It's so crazy because like I have a DSLR, and so it's wild to see these like tiny little zoom lenses that look just like the lenses I use for my DSLR, but just for my phone. Okay, and then it comes with, I forgot what this is called, the hood something. I'm not gonna use that, but all you do is clip it like this. It goes like this. You can adjust it to slide up and down and left and right. And so I'm gonna use, I think it's this lens right here that it uses. So it just goes like this. Looks really, really cool, so profesh. So now we're gonna get back into phone viewing mode, and we'll see if we can capture any flat mites. I'm zoomed in 1.4. And that is the damage I'm talking about right there in the corner. So I'm not seeing any like orange bugs on this one. I do see that, which could be a piece of substrate or a thrip. We don't know. I don't see any of them here. So in this corner, we're looking a little sus for sure. Look how pretty that is. You can get all of that silver on camera. Like my phone would never be able to get this close. Is that moving? No. I'm gonna take out my billy. So this is what the billy looks like from afar with the lens, and then getting closer. You definitely want to have some good light when you're using these, or else your phone is going to have a hard time focusing. But this lens is going to be really good for capturing like variegated plants and like really getting all that texture and beautiful patterns that you can't really see from afar. So that is this lens. And I'm gonna take some photos of the same plant with all three lenses and kind of just give you an idea of how they all perform alongside each other. But I really, really like this one. I feel like this one's gonna be really good for not taking the super, super close up shots like I did with this to see that little flat mite, but stuff for my Instagram where I can just show texture and color a lot better than my phone can do on its own. Man, my phone gets really hot when I do the screen record feature. Okay, let's give this a little break because it is hot. My phone is hot, hot. And then the last one I got is this really, really cool one too. And this one has like a built-in light in it. Same concept, you just kind of screw the lens on. And this one is called the macro fill set. So I'm just gonna clip it on like this. And then you can adjust the brightness. You can go brighter, dimmer. There's 3 brightness levels. Another thing I should mention is you want to make sure that your lenses are clean before you're trying to use this, or else it's not going to be as clear as you want it to be. So I'm just going to line it up with my lens like this. I'm going to turn it on and get back into screen record mode. Let's look at this really, really ugly plant. So this is another one of my Hoff red crystals. I know I said I only had one to keep, but I am using this for an experiment. If you've been keeping up with my Cocoa Peat experiment, this one is the one that's in cocoa, and she's a hot mess. So let's look at this hot mess express up close. Okay, so this is with the light off. This one, you don't want to go as close. You kind of want to stay about, I think this is like about 6 inches from the plant. You can see, ew, one of my hairs. Or maybe that was Vince's hair. This is zoomed in ×1. You can obviously also use the built-in phone zoom, but I kind of just want to see what this plant looks like with just the lens. And This one is definitely good for plant photography because you don't have to be super, super close to the plant, and like you can get a photo like, like that. Like, yum. These are things that I have such a hard time showing you guys. I'm like, I swear to you, it has like the pink sinus, or it has, you know, like a pink outline around it and a really, really, really subtle pink venation, and you just never see it on camera. So it's nice now that I have something that I can actually show you what I'm talking about in person. But yeah, this one captures the features of the plant really, really beautifully. So I'm excited to be able to use these in videos now. So before we get into looking at spider mites, I have about 4 plants that I just want to look at because I feel like it would look really cool under a zoom lens. So I think I'm gonna use this guy, which is the zoom macro lens. And let's just get this back on here. I hope that my phone has enough phone storage for me to do all these screen recordings because I desperately need to clean out my phone, seriously. One of the plants I am really interested to see super close is this Hoya Thomsonii, because I just want to see what these little furs look like really, really close. And it has an emergent leaf, so I'm excited to see that up close too. Okay, so we are popping back into phone mode. I'm zoomed in 1.4 and phone is focusing. Oh my gosh, it's beautiful. Look at that fuzzy guy. It's so cute. It looks like little lint, just like a little lint ball. And look, 2 new guys incoming down there. And wowzers trousers, as Alice would say. So cool. I mean, it's exactly what I thought it would look like, but it's so cool being able to just like see it up close and personal. Oh, I love this Hoya so much. It's so cool. So anyway, this is what the Hoya Thomsonii looks like with this zoom macro lens. Another plant that I wanted to see up close was this Hoya clemensiorum, just because it has such a, I don't know, a cool reptilian texture. I don't know what it would look like super, super close. So I think I'm gonna do this one, and I kind of want to try this one too to see it even closer. It's cool because with this zoom lens, you can actually see the little fuzzies that I talk about all the time when I say that it has like this micro fuzz. Because you look at this plant and you kind of think that it's going to be like really smooth, but no, it's got little tiny fuzzies on it, kind of like the Hoya Thomsonii, but just not as fuzzy, obviously. But like you can really see it on the edges right here. It's got just a little peach fuzz. Oh, it's so cool to be able to show it to you guys now. And this venation is just wild. You can see how raised it is, because on this plant as well, I always talk about the texture of it and how you can feel those veins coming through. So yeah, it's really cool. And then another one that I want to see up close with this zoom macro lens is my, what was it? I actually wanted to see my Frydek, my bigger one, but I don't really want to take it down right now. So we will look at this one, which is mostly gone white. I wonder if we'll be able to see any spider mites. I feel like all of my alocasia have spider mites right now. Sorry. Oh, found one. Look at them. Look at them go. They're those little black specks. I didn't even notice them on the plant earlier when I was admiring it today, but yeah, we've got mites, people. We've got mites. So since we're here, I'm going to take off this zoom macro lens and we're gonna pop on this lens to see these little mites up close. See, there's the black ones. Those are spider mites. And then the little teeny tiny orange ones that aren't really moving that much, but they're there, right? Like, look how orange they are. Oh, it's so crazy how big, whoa, it's crazy how big these spider mites look with this lens, but they're so tiny in person. I'm sorry, this is the worst video ever. I keep shaking. Stop shaking. Ew! Ah! It's an infestation. Ew. Oh my Lanta, you guys. That is a spider mite, people. That is nasty. That's nasty, nasty. I think I see some up here too. Oh, look at these little white ones. What is that? Is that an aphid? Look at that white one. Guys, what are those? See that white one right there? This one's got a mix of everything. Okay, since I have this lens on, I'm gonna show you the big mama that I know for sure has spider mites. And that is this gloriosum that I was gonna node, but I have kept it for the sole reason that I wanted to show you guys spider mites. So I'm gonna try and capture them because I can see the webbing, I can see all of that. So with this lens, my phone is about to explode. Going back in. This is wild. It's easier to do bigger plants because then I have something to like lean it on and it's not just violently shaking. All right, so this is what spider mite webbing looks like. I feel like a lot of people get confused because they see a spider web and they assume that it's spider mites, but spider mite webbing is so much harder to spot because it's so fine. But that is what it looks like, and it's just all up in the sinus area. So here is a little spider mite guy. I have him trapped in my lens. He's probably like, what the heck? What is going on? So yeah, we've got that guy. Another one of those orange ones. I feel like a microscope would pick up the orange ones a lot better. So many spider mites. Look at him go. He's just feasting on this thing. I feel like having these lenses now, I'll be able to share things that I'm trying to explain. And every time I'm like, you can't see it on camera, now I have no excuse. Thank you, Apexel, for sending me these cool lenses. While we talk about spider mites really quickly, I'm gonna throw in some photos that I took using the lenses. Aside from using them for educational reasons and inspection reasons, I am excited to be able to share a different angle and a different view of my plant with these lenses on Instagram and on YouTube. So here is a little collection of me playing around with the lenses. And I'm just gonna kind of quickly talk about my experience with spider mites and some of the products that I'm using right now to help combat them. Right now, I am primarily using two things. So the first one is this Dr. Doom Spider Mite Knockout, and the active ingredient in this is pyrethrins. I like this one because I feel like it works really fast, meaning when I spray it or when I spray the plants, it like kills them on contact, or at least like suffocates them. And then I don't see spider mites on that plant for a long time. I will say the only drawback to this, well, maybe not the only drawback, but a main drawback to this is that it's very thick, and it's similar to neem oil in that it is very, very oily and it leaves your leaves looking really oily. Not only that, if you're not careful, if you spray it and then put it back directly under sunlight or your grow light, you can experience some damage like this. So I used this on an emergent leaf and then put it into my exo right away, and it basically just melted this emergent leaf. So I actually try and avoid using these on, or using this on emergent leaves in general, because I find that if it's not going to melt it completely, it does leave some damage. So this, so this is toast. Another example I have to show you for damage left by that spray and then putting it directly under light is this. This looks very fungally, but I sprayed this one. It looked fine, and then I sprayed it, put it under my XO, forgot to turn, or put it back in my XO, forgot to turn the light off, and then the next day, or over the next 2 days, it looked like this. So if you're gonna use that spray, just be very careful. Sorry, I've been blinding you this whole time. Just be very careful and don't put it back under light right away. Just give it time to kind of dry off, or even go like a full 24 hours after with no light. The second one that I'm using predominantly next to this is more of an all-natural method. So I'm using the Dr. Woods Peppermint and Tea Tree Castile soaps together. So I do a little splash of each in my spray bottle, and then I use 99% isopropyl alcohol, do the rest with water, and then I spray it. Most of the time I will leave the spray on the leaves, but again, you're gonna wanna avoid putting it directly under light directly after. You're gonna want it to dry first. Another thing is I would avoid using it on emergent leaves, on anthurium, philodendron, anything, because that isopropyl alcohol, especially if you're going to use 99%, it is going to leave a little bit of damage on the leaves. But if you're careful, you're diluting it enough, and you're not putting it under direct light right after, it should be okay. I really have very minimal damage using these two sprays if I'm, kind of following all the protocol of things I've learned in the past. So those are the two that I'm using right now. I actually feel like it's working pretty well. I know I've been pulling plants that I know have spider mites, but I feel like my spider mite infestation is so much better than it was before. I would say that beneficials are probably your best bet. Like, I love having beneficials, but I can't afford having it all the time. So I do have to resort to using sprays, but I feel like this is second best next to having beneficials. So I highly recommend those two if you are struggling with mites right now. Another one you can do is the Dr. Doom Go Green Botanics, but it does not have the piperonal butoxide. Now, I actually find that this one works specifically better with, or I find that this one works better specifically with spider mites than this one. This is the one that I was using first until I found out that they made one just for spider mites. It still works, but I have better luck with this one. So I'm just waiting till this runs out, and once it runs out, I'm probably never gonna buy it again. Another one that I'm using is the Dr. Captain Jack's Dead Bug Brew. And the active ingredient in this is spinosad. So I have been using this for spider mites and my thrips, and I feel like this one has been really, really good as well, but I use it sparingly because we can't get it in Canada, and I want to save it for thrips. I feel like it works better for thrips than it does spider mites. That's just my experience. I don't know if it's because maybe I'm more persistent with using this than this when it comes to treating spider mites, but I just find that this one really knocks out thrips kind of like at the first try, what it seems like lately. But with spider mites, I have to do a few treatments, but I have to do that with any other spray as well. So anyway, that's another one that you can use. And then Azimax is one that I started experimenting with, I think last year I got Azimax, and the active ingredient in this is azadirachtin. It says that this is a botanical insecticide, miticide, and nematicide. It has the same consistency as this Dr. Doom Spider Mite Knockout. it's an oil. It's very oily. And keep in mind, I'm using all these as sprays, as foliar sprays. I'm not using these in the substrate. I did have good luck with Azimax in the beginning, but I found that as I kept using it, it's almost like the mites were becoming like immune to it or something, because it kind of stopped working after a while. In my research, I've read that with eradicating spider mites, you kind of want to be switching to different sprays or different methods all the time and not just going with one method all the time. I feel like that's one good thing about thrips, is that, you know, what works for thrips will always work for thrips. I feel like they don't really evolve to like become immune to whatever you're spraying it with. Like whenever I hit thrips with spinosad, they're gone. But you know, I could be using this and having the best luck with it, and then after like 6 months I spray it, and then the next day like they're good. So then I just have to keep switching between different sprays. But those are the ones that I'm using right now. I have experimented with other kinds of sprays, but they didn't really work for me long term. So these are kind of the ones that I like keeping in my arsenal, with the exception of this one. This one I've only really ever bought it one time and it just hasn't run out. So definitely recommend Captain Jack's, the Dr. Doom Spider Mite Knockout, Azimax, and then also doing this as more so a preventative rather than a treatment. So like whenever you're washing down your leaves or doing any kind of plant care, you can always like wipe down your leaves with this mixture, get your leaves nice and clean, and yeah, it's good as a preventative. So yeah, I think that is it in terms of the products that I'm using. Now, if you came here because you read the title or the description talking about spider mites and you are in the thick of a spider mite infestation and we're looking for a little bit of solidarity, you've come to the right place. So I feel like I'm pretty transparent and open with the fact that I struggle with pests all the time. I have taken all of the bullying on YouTube of people saying that I only treat. I've had the craziest comments. People saying that I only do pest treatments on camera to make it seem like I do pest treatments, but really I don't. And that's why I have pest issues all the time. I've been accused of not taking my own advice and giving advice that I'm not actually putting into practice, meaning like isolating new plants and, you know, like washing down the plant every other week or something. Someone was like, oh, you're setting unrealistic expectations for plant parents when you probably don't even do it yourself. You guys, when I tell you I don't mess around when it comes to pests, I do not mess around. Not only because I don't want my plants to suffer, I don't like seeing all the cosmetic damage, but I am literally grossed out by the fact that I have this many plants and have these tiny little things. Now that I've seen them up close, it grosses me out even more that they're just crawling around all over the place. So I really do try and keep a good pest regimen if I can, but I don't know what it is. I don't know if I just live in a really pesty place or what, but I always have pests. And before, I used to think that thrips what was like the boss battle. Like I thought thrips was, you know, the one pest that you would never be able to deal with or eradicate. I used to be so scared of them. And now I feel like when I see a thrip, it's kind of just like, oh, just another Wednesday, you know. But spider mites has been probably the hardest pest that I've ever dealt with. They're the most pesky. They reproduce and come back so fast. I feel like there's not a long period between treatments, whereas with thrips, if you treat them, it's like you can get away with not seeing them for a while and then they come back. Whereas spider mites, it's like, oh, I just washed that down 2 days ago and now there's spider mites back on it again. It's like, where did they come from? We don't know. But yeah, they, you know, it's part of the hobby. If you're new to the hobby and you are unfortunately being surprised by the amount of pests that, you know, you can deal with. Not only are they icky, but they leave damage on your leaves. just keep a good regimen, have a good stockpile of sprays that you can rotate between. And I think the best advice that I can give is just don't panic. Like, yes, it's hard to see like a plant that you've been caring for and like you've been excited about a new leaf and then you see that it's just covered in damage. It sucks. It obviously sucks, but like plants grow, they're very resilient, and you just have to remember to just like put one foot in front of the other. Just keep on treating. Do it slowly. Don't try and do your entire collection in one day. You know, do a little bit here and there, and just know that every treatment, every shower, every wash down counts. Don't feel like you're doing it for nothing. Yes, I still have spider mites in this house, but if I just gave up and was like, you know, these wash downs aren't doing anything, and I just kind of threw in the towel, my collection would look just awful. But I know that here and there, when I am able to like take 3 or 4 plants into the bathroom and give them a wash down, it is making a difference in the grand scheme of things. If you can just keep numbers down, if that's the best you can do, then that's the best you can do. And that's kind of where I am right now in my spider mite journey. Honestly, I am kind of excited but not excited for fall/winter to get here, but I am, because the spider mites get so much better, at least for me, in the cooler months. The summer, it's just brutal. It's so brutal. So I'm ready. I am ready for fall. But anyway, you guys, that's going to be it today. I just thought we'd do a fun little quick video talking about spider mites and playing around with these new lenses. And one of the reasons I really wanted to do this was so that I finally have a video up where I'm just showing the products that I use for spider mites on its own, because it's one of the most frequently asked questions that I get on this channel. So anywho, thank you Apexel for sponsoring today's video. I will link all of these lenses that I'm using in the description. I'm hoping to get my hands on one of their microscopes next, because that would be really cool to kind of look at it even closer, like on a tissue level, you know, like molecular, not molecular level, but you know what I mean, like really close. But I am going to have so much fun playing around with these over the next few months, and I think my Instagram is going to be looking a lot different these days. And you guys can see my plants up close and personal. So if you've been looking for a cool mobile lens to take pictures of your plants and you're not wanting to break the bank too much, but you want something that's good quality, I highly recommend these lenses. And I did test them out before I filmed this video. I wanted to make sure that you know, I was actually happy with the product, because if I wasn't, then this video would not have gone up. And that is that. So anyways, I'm out of here. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and I will see you in the next one.